the second step to achieve good communications. We have finally gotten to it. After you've got something good to say, number 2 is obvious. Learn to say it well. Once you've got the information and the awareness and the understanding, the knowledge, now the key in good communication is how to translate it into meaningful words, emotions, feelings, phrases, sentences, paragraphs. It's very important now to be able to translate it. Learning to say it well. Now, this is a whole subject in itself. This is worth a weekend of study. Let me just give you a short list of suggestions on learning to say it well. Number 1, repetition. It just takes practice. I don't know any substitute for the practice. To learn any skill, you've just got to go through it again and again and again. My first attempt at lecturing, especially outside my own comfortable business circles, was pretty tough. Learning to say it well was a struggle for me. But I kept at it and kept at it. And now I've gotten better. I do one seminar called Challenge to Succeed. It's about 4 hours long, and I can do it without any notes. Every once in a while a person comes and says, you lectured this evening for 4 hours without any notes. How can you do that? I said, it's very simple. I've done it a few thousand times. We call that simplicity. You just do it over and over and often. I've got a good question. How long do you want it to take to get good at what you do? You say not very long. Then you've got to do it often. Do it often. Repetition starts the skill. Now, it also must be repetition with the objectivity of getting better. Because sometimes it's easy to be casual just about repetition and not get much better. How about the man who's been talking for 10 years, but he's making the same verbal errors he made 10 years ago? Or 10 years ago he said, I don't quite know how to put this. 10 years later he's saying, I don't quite know how to put this. We say, hey, 10 years is too long not to know how to put it. We can give you 10 hours not to know how to put it. You can stretch our patience and take 10 days not to know how to put it, but we can't give you 10 years. 10 years is too long not to make enough progress in better language skills. So, repetition with purpose. The purpose is to grow and to change, to develop, to expand, to make progress. Here's some other parts to saying it well. Sincerity. From the heart. With noble intent. Wishing to bring value. That adds immeasurably to your ability to speak well, communicate well. Sincerity. There's no substitute for sincerity. I can forgive you for a mistake in judgment, but I can't forgive you for a mistake in intent. Next key part to saying it well, brevity. Part of the key is to be brief. You can't linger too long, I've discovered in my lecturing and speaking around the world. You can't linger too long on any one point. Brevity. I used to tell stories too long. I get involved in a long story on and on. By the time I hit the punchline, people forgot how it started. Now it doesn't make sense. Too long. Here's why brevity is important. The human attention span is short. You haven't got long to get it said before you lose your audience. Now, the best practice I know of here is practice on the kids, because their attention span is really short. Right? Underline really. You talk to kids for 30 seconds. They say, how long is this going to take? Right? I mean, they're already bent out of shape, right? Looks like you're going to take forever to get to the point, get it said. Brevity. Jesus, master communicator, was probably the best. In selecting his team, he would look at somebody and say, follow me. That's brief. That's, right? That's short. Now, how could you be so brief and yet be so effective? I think probably because of all that he was that he didn't have to say. Sometimes we try to make up in words what we lack in self-confidence. So part of the key to being brief is personal development, personal growth, personal awareness, understanding self-worth. Now you can use the economy of words. And this is a good position to be in. that what you are adds so much weight to what you say that you don't have to say very much. But brevity is a good point on saying it well. Next is style. And there's all kinds of parts to style, from body language and gestures to facial expressions and eyes and emotion. But style is very important. Here's part of the clue. It's not just the matter you cover, it's the manner in which you cover the matter. Style is important to attract someone's attention, to emphasize the point. Now, I've got a couple of good points here on style. Be a student of style, but don't just copy someone's style. Make sure that the study of style becomes distinctly you. But it is also important to be a student of style. How people speak well, be a student of that. And then borrowing bits and pieces from people you admire and the way they can communicate. Then make sure that all of that blended into you becomes your own distinctive style. But style is very important. Now there's a variety of styles. Ancient story tells us of John the Baptist had a unique style. He came out of the desert dressed in camel's hair, and his diet was grasshoppers and wild honey. And he screamed and yelled and thundered curses on the king and other people. That was his style. They came to see John, I'm sure, right? I'm sure the word was out. You got to come and see this guy. Not just what he said, but his style, I'm sure, was something to watch. So John had a unique style. Jesus, I'm sure, had probably a whole different style. But style is important, to become uniquely John or to become uniquely you. But it's important to study your own style and say, how am I coming across in style? Should I learn to emphasize more? Should I learn to be more emphatic? All these things concerning style.